Hey people, this is my weekly rundown of things in entertainment news that interested me over the past week. And this will be a relatively short video because there are only two things that I really want to talk about, but both are, in my opinion, pretty significant and important things. The first, of course, is the Avengers trailer that came out this week, and the second is footage from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. But to start off, I want to talk about the Avengers trailer. Not really that extensively, but I thought it was a very enjoyable trailer. Once again, I feel like the hype from the Super Bowl trailer, well, the Super Bowl TV spot and the extended TV spot, kind of drained the hype level that I would have had if I saw this without seeing that. But there was still a decent amount of new footage in this that was very cool to watch and that got me very excited for this. This trailer focused a little bit more on the whole formation of the team aspect. It kind of introduced most of the characters at the beginning of the trailer, like how they were sought out for the Avengers, and focused a little bit on how unnatural and how hard it is to get this team to work together and fit and operate. Kind of summed up by Bruce Banner's comment that they're not a team, they're a time bomb, and Loki saying that how desperate. I'm pretty sure he was talking to Tony Stark. If you actually look at the trailer and see Loki when he's saying this, it looks like he's talking to Tony Stark and not Nick Fury, as the trailer implies. But Loki says something like, "How desperate are you that you turn to these something creatures?" So it makes it seem that the formation of the Avengers is kind of a last-ditch effort, an act of desperation, that this isn't something that they really thought was going to be their best chance or their first line of defense. This is something like, okay, this is an emergency, we really need something extreme to possibly do this, so let's try to get these people together and see if we can possibly deal with the situation we've got. There wasn't too much more revealed in the trailer about what's going on with Loki and who he's teamed up with, this alien army, whatever it is. But once again, the action was pretty crazy in this trailer, and I went back and forth trying to decide whether I was going to do an extensive trailer analysis like I did for the first Avengers trailer and the Dark Knight Rises trailer, and I decided against it simply because A, time constraint, I've been kind of busy lately, and B, there wasn't that much that I thought that I could comment on that wasn't very evident in just by watching the trailer, so I felt like I'd just be narrating, oh, this is the part where they talk to Captain America. And it just wouldn't be very useful or entertaining for everyone. But I did want to comment on about two shots in the trailer, maybe more, but probably just two shots that got me very excited and were, to me, the most interesting parts of the trailer, visually or something. This shot here was very exciting to me. We've got Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America all in this scene together, and I speculate this is probably the first scene in the film that they're all together, which is very exciting because, for those of you who don't know, these three are kind of the big three of the Avengers. They're kind of the core of it, and with the history of the team, they're kind of what people think of as like the epitome, the center of it. And just to have them on screen together, I think, was very exciting for a lot of people to finally see this shot of these three just meeting each other. And I do think it is the meeting. And as you can see in the trailer, there's some conflict going on here. We've got Thor fighting Captain America, Iron Man fighting Thor, and there's probably going to be at least a little bit of fighting between Iron Man and Captain America just to give everybody a little bit of a fight there. And I think it's going to be one of those very memorable scenes in the film that people are going to look back on because of the significance it is to the characters, these three finally meeting each other. And as the relationships evolve, I think it's going to be fun to look back on this, and I don't doubt that maybe at some point, maybe later in this film or even in a second film, if that gets made, that they will reference back to this scene and how far the relationship has come from there. But I do find it interesting to speculate about what is causing this fight. We have a shot in the trailer of Captain America diving from a plane or something, so maybe he's going to intercept Thor here, I don't know. But
it will be fun to see what causes this fight and how it ends and how it's broken up. It's just a very interesting shot. Very excited to see how this plays out. Here we've got a scene that was shown in the Super Bowl TV spot, but the Hulk at the beginning of this scene was not shown. I'm pretty sure it started with Hawkeye and just rotated around. Maybe because they were still working on the effects for the Hulk here. And when I saw it, I just didn't really think about it that much. I was like, oh, the Hulk looks kind of cool here. But when I saw the still shot of it, I was just amazed because he looks so good here. Like, the detail and everything just looks so great. And I find it interesting just to watch how effects improve over time, because you look at the 2003 Hulk and then the 2008 Hulk and just the evolution of it and how far they've progressed with the effects. It's pretty interesting to look at. Like, just quickly, here's a shot of the 2008 Hulk, and it looked decent, and at various times in the film it looked a little bit better than this, but just to compare, since the facial expression is pretty similar, look at this and then compare it to this shot right here. I mean, it looks a lot more realistic, the textures and everything, so it's very exciting to me. And if the Hulk looks this good throughout the entire film, I think it's going to be very exciting. And who knows, maybe if the Hulk is portrayed well enough in this, we will get a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, because I really enjoy The Incredible Hulk, and I'm been kind of disappointed that more people didn't go to see it and there's not more interest in it, and we won't get to see that story of Bruce Banner continued until now when we're seeing him in the Avengers. So that's another thing to be excited about. It's just kind of, it almost doesn't feel like a full continuation because it's not Edward Norton. I know I've talked about this a million times, but Mark Ruffalo hopefully will do a great job with his character, and if they do decide to make another Hulk film, I hope that he can do a good job carrying it. Just to touch on a few more things, this is a wallpaper version of the theatrical poster that was released this past week, and it looks pretty cool. The only thing that I find very awkward about it is the positioning and sizing of the characters. Like, if you look at the size of the Hulk and Captain America in relation to the buildings they're standing next to, they're huge. And that's not too big of a problem. I mean, it's still a cool picture, and but for a theatrical poster, you just expect a little bit of a higher standard there. Like, this isn't somebody on DeviantArt just posting their manipulated image in a fan poster. This is like officially released stuff. So while I wish it was a little bit better, it's still kind of a cool picture. So download this. There's a link in the description if you're interested. There is some behind the scenes footage that I've also included a link to, which there are a few brief exchanges that you can see from the footage that they've shot in that. One with the argument between Iron Man and Captain America, probably an extension of the argument we saw in the first trailer, which is exciting. I don't want to spoil that for you, so watch that if you're interested in seeing a little bit more of that. And since I did not do one of my extensive trailer analyses, I included two links in the description to where you can find some of those. One, the IGN Rewind trailer, and two, just another fan trailer, someone who does it similarly to me, just going frame by frame, analyzing them. And I haven't watched either of them all the way through, but I did watch a bit of both of them, and they seem like the type of thing that you'd be interested in if you do enjoy the types of analyses that I do with the trailers. So watch those if you're looking for that kind of thing. And finally, I wanted to comment on a rumor that the runtime of this film will be 150 minutes, I think, 2.5 hours. So I don't know how that makes a lot of you feel, but to me that's exciting because the film is looking good. I mean, everything about it looks very entertaining. So when you've got something that's good, more of a good thing is usually good. Okay, that was probably the least eloquent sentence I've spoken in a while, but still, I think that you've got some interesting character interactions in this film, and there's really a lot that you have to do here. You've got a big ensemble cast, you've got a big story going on here, so you've got to spend time developing these characters and the relationships to show that, because that's what people have been waiting to see. That's what I've been waiting to see these characters together. I don't want to just see them fighting together. I mean, I can play video games and stuff just to do that. I want to see Captain America interacting with Iron Man. That's because I've watched these characters now, and I've seen them on their own, and just the dynamics of them together is part of what makes this movie so interesting. Yeah, the visuals are going to be insane, and that's going to be part of the major pull, just watching these very cool people alongside each other fighting. But if they're able to take the time and develop these characters in an interesting way and present it so we just enjoy watching them sitting around and talking, then it'll be a great movie, I think. And you've got this whole story with Loki and this army and what all that stuff that's going on. And I don't know, for some reason I think a lot of people feel like it's a very simplistic story with, oh, I'm Loki, I have an army, I'm going to attack you. But given if it is a two and a half hour film, then maybe it's more complex than that, and maybe it's more interesting than that. So I think it's a good sign if the film is long. Maybe this is just a rumor and it's not that long, but if it is a long film, I'm all for it, as long as it's good. And the other thing I wanted to talk about today was the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. They've released some footage from it, just a brief clip of a scene from the show, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. I don't want to just tell you what happened. I included a link in the description, but it's got Peter talking to Nick Fury, and it just kind of shows a bit of the tone of the series, and it's kind of humorous. It's not cheesy humor. You can tell the show doesn't take itself very seriously, though, which is interesting. And judging by this shot here, I mean, visually, it's sort of similar to Spectacular Spider-Man. I mean, it's almost like a middle ground between Spectacular Spider-Man and the 90s Spider-Man animated series, which is cool. If you don't know, Drake Bell is voicing Peter Parker in this, which is pretty interesting if you know him from Drake and Josh. And from what I could tell in the footage I watched, he's doing a decent job with the character. Some of the things that have come out about this series that are concerning people, they have unveiled Iron Fist and Luke Cage for this series, and both of them, I believe, are teenagers in this. So it's kind of an awkward decision to make these characters teenagers just to be the same age as Peter Parker, especially Luke Cage, whose history is about him being like experimented on in prison or something like that. So it's like, how are you doing the origin of this character when he's like 15 years old? I don't think he's been to prison and experimented on. But while that is a little bit concerning what they're doing with the other characters, I personally find it very interesting what the premise of this show, because not to spoil too much, I mean, definitely go watch this clip, but Nick Fury is talking about how he wants to train Peter Parker and have him become better at being Spider-Man, which is the story arc that Ultimate Spider-Man left off with before Peter Parker was killed off. So it almost feels like this is a bit of a continuation of that, like if Peter didn't die, this is what could be going on there. So to me, as someone who is a big fan of that comic book series, I mean, I still read it with Miles, and it's a great series, but a big fan of that Peter Parker character, it'll be cool to almost pretend that this is the continuation of that. But that's really all I have for this video. Just to warn you, I will not be able to make a video next week, unfortunately. I'm going out of town, but I'll try to make up for that somehow. I'm not sure how yet, but I'll try to make up for that. And thank you for watching, though. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, comment, like, and tune in next time.